Hi Tom, nice to meet you. I'm Dan from Bishop Fleming.
Hi Dan, likewise, nice to meet you too.
Just wanted to ask you some quick questions about Arc Marine, given the success in the Tech Southwest Awards. And to start with, what does Arc Marine do and what makes it so special?
Yeah, so Arc Marine's an eco-engineering company founded back in 2015, and we design, build, and install nature-based solutions in the marine environment. We also offer a suite of advanced monitoring services to give you a really good idea of what's happening to the marine environment when you're building upon it.
Great, okay. And what challenge have you faced in developing this business and kind of growing it to the point where it is today?
Yeah, so when we first sort of got into the market of nature-based solutions, it was still really sort of theoretical. So it was mainly through the academic institutes, which were really talking about building with nature and nature inclusive design. There wasn't really an end customer buying products like ours. So for a long time, we were sort of banging on doors, trying to convince people to even think about nature when building with the marine environment. So for the first few years, it was really difficult. Not to mention we had a lot of technical challenges as well, trying to develop the product and the technology. But over the last sort of 5, 6 years, we've overcome some technical hurdles, and now the market seems about ready to adopt our sort of technology in the nature-based solutions market.
And have you seen an increase for the demand for the type of service you offer, given the sustainability problems we've faced in it's very live in the press at the moment. Have you seen that increase your workload?
Yeah, definitely. That's another thing. About 5 or 6 years ago, it wasn't really at the forefront of people's minds, especially sort of the big decision makers. And during the COVID pandemic, we were a bit worried. We were thinking, are we going to put a backseat on environmental concerns again? But we're really fortunate that people have almost sort of thought, no, look how important our health and well-being is, and the environment, and the whole world are feeling the change of climate change. So we're now actually in the right place at the right time, and there is actually a significant uptake on that basis now.
So basically, the world is now caught up with what you were already thinking.
Yeah, they've now sort of looking for solutions, and there's a lot of pressure on the government to private companies to now get in line and do what they can for cutting emissions and making sure they've got positive environmental impacts on what they're doing. So now they're sort of scrambling around looking for a few technologies, and that there aren't a lot of them around at the moment, but I think that will change now with the next green revolution.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you why you set the business up, and presumably the green, if you like, and sustainability is a big personal driver for you.
To be honest, it wasn't in the very early days. We were just obsessed divers, so everyone in the company was recreational divers. I'd say it's fair to say that we're all passionate and driven about ocean conservation, but I think it's now sort of become a bit of a lifestyle and a mantra that, once you start looking at that element, it leads you onto something else, and it leads you onto that, and it's all sort of interconnected. So I think everyone in the company now is sort of green eco warriors, if you like. But we are a private company. We're doing this to make an economic return, because we think if we can create a global powerhouse in Arc Marine, then that's how we're going to have maximum impact and maximum positive environmental impact. That's our long-term goal.
Yeah, great. And why is now the right time to enter the Tech Southwest Awards?
I think for the past few years we've been in that sort of low technology readiness level. We were quite a small startup, very early days, a few projects here and there, mainly an R&D company. And I think we're just starting to come out of that trajectory now with some much bigger paid pilot projects. We're almost at commercialization. And I think that the team have earned the respect from the peers in the industry to say the technology is being taken seriously by major developers around the world. And if Arc Marine get it right, then there's going to be a huge market for their products, but they're also going to have a massive environmental impact, which may not have been seen before in the marine environment.
Good. So you're kind of looking forward to the PR and the press you're going to get around you.
Yeah, exactly. I think it really helps with the raising the brand of the company, because we are still a small company based in the Southwest at the moment, even though we've got international projects going on. But having sort of invested all our time, or a lot of our time and a lot of our money, into the patents that protect our product, as a startup, you can't spend the money twice. We don't have big budgets, so we chose to protect our technology using utility patents, but hopefully this will help us with our branding awareness.
Yeah, makes sense. And what challenge have you had to overcome in the past few years?
I think the biggest one was the profile of what we were trying to do. There was a big question mark as to, is what we're doing a nice thing to have for a charity or an NGO, or is there a commercial buying client for what Art Marine do? Is there a business model effectively? So it took a long time to prove that there was a business model, and more importantly, that the business model would have a return big enough for the investors to come on board in the future. And I think we've finally proven that now, which is, the market for our products and our technology could be huge and it could be international. So that was a big hurdle. Funding was another one. Trying to find funding for the blue economy space was almost impossible 6 years ago. It's got a lot better now. Thankfully, there are some venture capitalist funds coming through who are now saying, we're just looking for climate tech. We're just interested in having companies that have got sustainable profits. We're not looking for quick wins anymore. We want you to tick the boxes of circular economy, low CO2, and all that. So I think that those two hurdles we've definitely overcome. We were quite lucky to have a really good team who never really faltered at any technological hurdles. So we're okay on that front.
Good. And what's next for the business?
So we've got several pilots in aquaculture, offshore wind, oil and gas, and coastal defence that we're looking to finish over the next 12 to 18 months. And we're also completing a seed 2 investment round, which will bring a multi-million-pound investment deal into Art Marine, and that will aid our massive scale up, which we're looking to do in Cornwall to service the southwest coast. That will give us a huge manufacturing capacity. To give you an idea, we're going from manufacturing about 20 reef cubes a day up to about 2,000 a day. So huge potential to scale up the idea and hopefully bring the unit cost down and take the market by storm. So that's the next 18 months planned.
Great. It's a busy 18 months by the sounds of it. And my final question, you've been through a lot. We've talked about a lot of it, but what advice would you give to somebody who's looking to start out in the tech sector now?
I think a big one is be open to compromise along the way to your end goal. It doesn't have to mean change what the end goal is for your technology or for what the vision of the company is. But to give you an example, we initially wanted to be a marine conservation company, and we thought that we'd be making reefs for ecotourism. And it turns out that we're almost pivoted away from that for the short term, and we're looking at subsea protection for offshore construction projects. The end goal is the same. We're building marine habitats on a big scale, but the customer's changed and the reason we're building them has changed. And I think if we were sort of hell bent on just building reefs for ourselves or reefs for divers, we probably wouldn't be where we are as a company. We'd still be knocking on doors, the wrong doors. So I think being able to compromise along the way, the more you learn about the industry you're getting into is paramount.
So compromise and adapt by the sound of it.
Compromise and adapt, but keep the end goal the same. Yeah.
Perfect. Great. Well, thanks for your time, Tom. It's good to talk to you.
No worries, Dan.